We've made it to a Friday here on STL Sports Central. All content brought to you by DraftKings. The crown is yours. This is Card Central 365, powered by Gray Bar. It's Friday. Ryan Fagan's right there. I'm Joe Roderick. And I will quite a bit that you and I want to get into on the show today. But I want to gauge your reaction overall, your thoughts, because I feel like since we last talked, since we last did a show together, Cardinals then went on to get swept by the Yankees all last weekend. Yeah. I feel like that might have been nail in the coffin on a lot of fans that wanted to believe. Yeah. That I just feel like that was the lack of enthusiasm this week, the lack of engagement I feel like this week is very apparent right now in Cardinal Nation.
Yeah, I think so. I think because that came, and it was kind of the way they lost some of those games, some sloppy play and just making mistakes that good teams just quite honestly don't do. I think on the heels of losing those last two at home against the Rockies, so you have two losses to literally what's going to be one of the worst teams in Major League history to finish the season with an awful record against a team that's going to be one of the worst in Major League history. To lose those two and then get swept in the way that they did by a Yankees team that, as we've talked about, is not peak Yankees, is struggling and playing some bad baseball itself. I think it did kind of feel like, okay, if you're holding on to that hope, you maybe just kind of loosen that grip a little bit. And then they go and win, 3 or 4 in Florida, because I feel like how many times this season has it felt like, okay, that series was it. That was it. There's no way. And it's like they keep just kind of hanging around. What are they, 4 games out of the third wild card right now? I can't believe I'm the one that brought that up. I thought for sure you would first, but
I looked at it earlier. Hayden and I were in talking earlier, and we were kind of going over just that. I was like, God, they're 4 games back. Like, I want to sit here and say that, okay, hey, it's still not over, but God, it just. They just constantly do the things like last week getting swept again. It's just constantly like that. Yeah.
I mean, because, you look at the schedule, and if you're trying to find a path back, and I'm not always a big fan of saying, hey, look, they've got an easy, Team X has an easy schedule, therefore they're going to win. Because we saw what happened against the Rockies, right? 3 games at home against the Rockies. You look at that schedule and say, okay, well, the Cardinals should win at least 2, if not all 3. But then you look at it, they've got the Pirates in town for a couple, and at the moment Skeens isn't on the list of starting pitchers. Then a couple of games in Cincinnati, and the Reds have been playing good, but that's a team that they're trying to chase down, so it's an opportunity. Then against the A's, who are what they are, right? Not as bad as they have been. And then the Giants have been scuffling as well. So I mean, you're looking at these next 3 series after they get out of Tampa Bay, and it's 3 winnable series plus an opportunistic series if they're going to get back in that conversation. I'm not saying they are. I've been much more of a realist about that than you have all year, but I see a path right now.
I mean, but that's the thing. Like, I've seen the path. I've sat here all year and shouting out like, hey, look, that's here. The opportunity's here. Like, they have a chance here. Hey, all they do is sweep. Like, I could say, hey, you sweep the Rays this weekend and you're 1 game over. I could say it, but I think,
well, it's because they're not,
for me, like, I've just been so I've been frustrated so much
because they're not a really good team.
Right.
That's just the truth. Yeah. They're a team that has some really good players. There's a team that has some flaws, and that's basically the recipe for a team that's around 500.
And I think going this weekend down to Florida too, I think the fan interest has dropped. The early start times in Miami, and then you go to Tampa. Tell me who the biggest star is between Tampa and Miami.
Junior Caminero, man. He's on pace to have a 40 home run season. 40, what's he at now? 42? Something like that.
If you were to go to Cardinal fans, if you were to stand outside the statues and say, hey, what team does Junior Caminero play for? If you were to do that last weekend during the Yankee series, what percentage of B-Fibs would have gotten that answer right?
I think most of them who collect baseball cards would know who he is.
That wasn't the question.
Aside from that, yeah, no, they would probably, if you're asking, they would probably ask if Randy Rosarena still plays for the Rays. That would probably be your point's
who was the biggest star that they faced this week?
That's an interesting question. I mean,
but that's what I'm saying. I think
objectively
into it to where it's like, all right, I can take this week off.
Kids
are back in school. Like I could take.
I mean,
this
that
week
is
off.
true.
Yeah.
I mean, my daughter just started first grade. I know it's kind of been a whirlwind. Well, last week, and then soccer practice kicks in, and I mean, it's easy this time of the year. There are distractions, and when you're coming off a series like they had with the Yankees on the heels of that Rockies debacle,
and next week, Skeens isn't going to pitch against the Cardinals in the 4-game series next week. I don't think as of right now.
He's not.
I think he's scheduled for Sunday, so he's not going to pitch in those. You're going to get Bubba Chandler. Not Bubba Chandler. Yeah, Bubba Chandler. Okay.
Is he called up?
Yeah, he got called up the other day. You see,
I was
first grade. Hey, you're.
He's the guy that
I think he should be scheduled to pitch one of the games, right? Against the Cardinals next week. So
it's not on there, but that's the ESPN one, and they're missing a starter for Tuesday. So
that's, I think Wednesday would be. Oh, they're gonna put him in the bullpen. That's why.
Okay.
Yeah, they're calling him up in a limited role in the bullpen.
Okay.
So
he's a stud, man.
He is Roy Ruben Chandler. Bubba. Did you see on the Rays? I mean, we're talking about star players on the Rays. Bob Seymour.
I did see it. It was the first guy named Bob to homer since 2020, 2002, something like that.
It's been 20 years since there's been a Bob.
Yeah.
In Major League Baseball.
I mean, there's been obviously Bobby, like Bobby Witt, but actually someone who goes by
Robert.
Bob.
Rob.
Yeah.
There's never been somebody that just goes by Bob, but it's Bob Seymour.
My dad's name's Bob, so I'm pulling for Bob Seymour to have a breakthrough second half of the year.
That is such a creative player name.
Yeah, right. Yeah, love it.
So, and it's also a weird schedule this weekend too. There's no game on Saturday.
Yeah.
Because of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
So it's a weird schedule this weekend too. It's just a weird week of baseball in the midst of all of this.
Yeah, you almost never see a setup where a team is in Tampa or in a city and has an off day in a city and then plays there the very next day.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously it's because of the situation playing where they are. It is odd though. It is. I'm sure they will welcome the day off.
Like the NFL could, I mean, the Buccaneers couldn't be like, hey, we're going to play our preseason game on Sunday.
No, the NFL doesn't care.
And then you play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then you go and you leave you have Sunday off. Like
the NFL is not in the least bit concerned with anything that doesn't have to do with the
preseason.
NFL. It does not matter.
I get for a regular season game. I get it.
You get it though.
Okay. I 100% get the NFL doesn't care. I mean, the NFL has taken over Christmas now. If the NFL could, they would find a way to play games on the 4th of July. I'm very, very much aware of that. I get that, but preseason where the team actually dictates this stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, it's still a full house, right? I mean, season ticket holders still have to buy the tickets for those games, so they're still going to try to get there when the most people can get there, and they feel like that in this case is a Saturday.
It's an oddity. This whole week,
weird. Yeah.
This whole week is just an oddity. Right down to Lars Nootbaar also finally hitting again, which is terrible for my brand.
Which I feel like, as we talked at the beginning of the season, the Cardinals, the best version of the 25 Cardinals, are with Lars Nootbaar being productive in the leadoff spot. And that's still true, especially with Donovan out. But that's especially true now. And it's been a minute since that's been true.
I still don't. I mean, again, it's performing well. You're doing what you have to do. I still think the best version is with him not in, with him lower and having. I feel like having Donovan, having Wynn Victor Scott being able to hit leadoff. I feel like all of those options should be better if you are looking at the makeup construction of this team. But still, I mean, just overall, just the wild makeup of this team to begin. Like, there's no power. You have no 3 or 4 guy, right? Alec Burleson, you're
no
traditional. Yeah, like Alec Burleson is not a 3. Like, is anyone in the team going to hit 20 home runs this year?
Oh yeah, they'll get a couple. Contreras will get there. I mean, Burleson's got 15. He'll get there.
Is he? I mean, it's 15 at the end of August.
Yeah, but he had such a slow start though. He's been
what's Contreras at?
18.
Okay, Contreras will get there.
Yeah, but that's it. Unless Gorman, I'm just looking at now. He's at 12. I mean, he's got the power to have a big week, but he hasn't.
Yeah. So it's just one of those. It's just it's a mess of what they could, of what it possibly could be, and that leads to a lot of different scenarios for the upcoming off season. This is Card Central 365, powered by Gray Bar, your distributor of electrical and datacom needs. That brings me to this. As we kind of jump around a lot of different places, the Baltimore Orioles. Today have the news is that they are going to give an extension to rookie catcher Samuel Basallo. They just called him up. Talked earlier this season about how he was their top prospect. I believe I sat right here next to Chris Pelican at this very desk, and I threw out the idea of, this is when the Cardinals are still in contention. And you're kind of looking at, okay, where can you improve? And it's the catcher position. Sean Murphy was, out there, and I think probably still is out there. I kind of looked at it. So what about Adley Rutschman? About going out and trading for him? Do you think is that a big enough splash for Heimblum to make this offseason? And I feel like regardless of what his numbers are this year, like that's an instant upgrade over Pages and Pozo.
As we texted.
Yes.
Kind of. Look, I'm a big Adley Rutschman fan. When he came out, when he was drafted, when he went through the minors, his first couple of years in the bigs, he was, switch hitter. He's got power from both sides of the plate. You remember when he did the home run derby?
Yep.
He did 1 round left-handed, 1 round right-handed.
No, he did the bonus round right-handed. So
whatever
he did the first round there
switched.
When he got the bonus, he switched and did
which you never see, but that's a guy. And I had talked to his dad.
His dad was pitching for him.
Right. I had talked to his dad ahead of the derby, and he was so excited to see his kid out there. Look, and he's good behind the plate. He's not been the same offensive guy for a while now. All season. I mean, you look at his OPS plus right now is 92.
Yeah.
100 is league average, which means he's been 8% worse than the average hitter this year. The
105
on base
last
percentage.
Year, 23 was the last big year for him.
Because he had power. He was a switch hitter. He had a good eye.
Mm-hmm.
He had that on base percentage 360, 370. That's down to 310 this year. And when Adley came up, he was not young, right? I mean, he's already in his age 27 season. He's got 2 years left before free agency. Like, is Adley Rutschman a guy you'd want to take a flyer on? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But is he a guy you're trading what the Orioles are going to ask to get him?
But what can they ask to get him? He's struggling.
You can blame it on an injury. He had a hand injury. And you guys that have hand injuries, right? It takes a while. You look like Kyle Tucker with the Cubs since he got that hand injury. He's not been the same guy. So if the Orioles are going to say, yeah, he's been hurt. He's been dealing with that all year. He had the oblique strain. He was just on the IL. They're going to say, yeah, this has been a down year, but we're not going to take less than X amount, right? And I just think that number is going to be prohibitively high, especially if you're looking at, what the Cardinals are going to do maybe over the next 2 years in terms of, are you going to see Jimmy Crooks and when do some of these guys come up? I think that's a question because, I mean, Adley Rutschman's a guy, like if you'd asked me at the beginning of the year or the last 2 years, I would say, yeah, you do what you can to get Adley Rutschman and you have him for 3 or 4 years. I'm not as sold now, especially because it feels like the Orioles have been a team that has been hesitant to trade players and they've held on to some of them too long. And the ones they do trade, I'm not saying they're kind of like the Cardinals, but they've made bad decisions in trading.
They're just, they rose. They were so hot so quick.
And he was a big part of that.
The drop off for that, it's something, it needs to be studied. Like, you still have all these guys. Like, I'm looking at their roster right now. 27, 28, 21, 24, 25, 26, 26. Like, you have guys, so many guys that are well under the age of 30.
Yeah,
that should not have. This should be a dynasty, and it's fallen off significantly.
And I think part of that is because they didn't add where they needed to aggressively in free agency. You saw when teams like the Cubs had this young core come up in 14, 15, 16, they went and added John Lester. They added these pieces that they needed to. The Orioles didn't do that. Yeah. And I think it's not like it was any secret they didn't do that. Everyone in baseball was like, what are you doing? You have this young core and you're doing nothing with it. And then, you can't expect peak from everyone forever. Gunnar Henderson's been down this year. Rutschman's been down this year. Colton Cowser he's been hurt and he hasn't done as much. Jordan Westberg's been fine. Good, but not like developing into a star. So all of a sudden you've got all these guys who haven't taken that step up while you've had injuries to the closer, Felix Bautista, and all these different things.
It's out for like a year and a half now. He's not going to be back until 27. So we'll, see him when baseball comes back in 28. So,
it could be a situation with the Orioles where they kind of just, they'll listen to guys like Rutschman. I don't think they're going to get what they want. And I don't think they're going to lower their price because they can say, we've still got him and we've got Henderson, and all these guys have to be better next year. They could roll out the same exact team, basically have guys bounce back to career norms, not even like extremes, just career norms, what they can reasonably do, and they could be right back in the playoff picture next year, which is why I don't think.
But where does he play? Like, that's the thing. Like, I don't know what the Cardinals have to offer outside. The minors with that, and you're looking at adding pitching significantly. Yeah. So the idea of adding a catcher probably takes away from some of the other things that you need when it comes to that.
Unless it's just a complete overhaul.
Which again, we're sitting here, we're 5 weeks till the end of the year, and it is, man, trying to figure out how Chaim Bloom's going to play this situation and hearing both sides, like hearing like he wants to, he's going to want to put his fingerprints on it, or he's going to want to, go about it slowly and kind of, make the smart moves. And you're hearing all these different things because he hasn't been on record saying anything.
The Cardinals have not made him available.
Right. So it's such an odd, overall situation with him, with that right now. So
this is so random, and not that it has anything to do with anything. But I'm just looking at the Orioles page on Baseball Reference. They have 5 guys with exactly 15 home runs right now.
Yeah.
And that's the team lead.
They also, if you scroll up just a little bit and look at the top 12 players, like half of those guys look exactly the same.
You are not wrong.
They have a type.
Yeah.
This is Card Central 365. All of our content here on STL Sports Central is brought to you by our friends over at DraftKings. And hey, this weekend, it's not going to be as hot as it's been. It's going to be nice and cool. Maybe some back porch off the deck. You sit and you watch the game, listen to the game. And while you're doing so, fire up that Pick 6 app from DraftKings. Crazy simple. You just pick more or less on stats for 2 or more of your favorite players, and boom, you're in the mix for big cash prizes. Cardinals are playing in a minor league ballpark tonight and on Sunday. Maybe take advantage of that with some power numbers and see what they can do. Pick 6 available here in Missouri. Don't miss out on the fun. Don't settle for a smaller payout. Switch to Pick 6. And right now, new customers get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app and use code STL Sports. New customers get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings, The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org in Connecticut. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Pick 6 not available everywhere, including New York and Ontario. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Joe Roderick, Ryan Fagan with you for a few more minutes. Ryan, I know you are a huge Bernie Miklasz fan.
Yeah,
as
great.
As am I, and a lot of people here watching on STL Sports Central. And it makes me feel really, really smart when something I say earlier in the week is echoed by Bernie in one of his articles. And that's exactly what happened the other day, because I sat here on this in this very chair on Wednesday talking with Steph and Carey, and this was after the Michael McGreevy start on Tuesday, and I'm sitting there watching it Tuesday, and I tweeted out at the time because I went and looked at just all of the McGreevy starts, and it just seems every start he goes out there, he gets you through 6 innings, he leaves the game with you still feeling like you have a chance to compete in the game. And it made me reluctantly go back and dig up the stats on this season for Eric Fedde and just how bad it was. And I guess I didn't realize 3-10 was Eric Fedde with the Cardinals.
Yep.
And you kind of look, and I don't think anybody was calling for, I think nobody was calling for McGreevy to replace Fedde at the beginning of the year, but they wanted McGreevy somewhere in that rotation. Nobody could give a clear-cut answer on who, because one week it would be Palante, the next week it would be Fedde, next week it was Michaelis. So you're just going, you're back and forth on who he should be replacing. But the thing is, if you just take McGreevy for Fedde, it's the Cardinals, I feel like, have the same record, if not a game better than the Reds right now.
I mean, you can certainly see that as that's realistic. I think this is something I've said forever, right? What you want out of your starters, who are not your ace, right? You have different expectations out of an ace, which the Cardinals don't have right now. But what you want is a rotation of guys that can get you through 6 innings in position to win a game.
Yeah.
Right. It used to be 7. Some people will still now say it's 5, but it should be 6.
Yeah.
Right. You should get through 6. In Fedde's last 16 starts, I just looked it up. In Fedde's last 16 starts, he got through 6 full innings one time.
Mm-hmm.
Right. In Michael McGreevy's last 4 starts, just looking at the last 4 after the bad game in St. Louis against the Padres, he's gone 6 innings each of his last 4 starts, and he's had a chance to win. So I mean, there are scenarios where Eric Fedde you could look at it different ways. You could also go through his game logs and say, okay, well, he did X amount of times 5 innings with 2 or fewer runs, right? And he had a lot of those this year. He had some really bad games. He had a lot of those where he went 5 innings and gave up 0, 1, or 2 runs, which is good, but then you're taxing the bullpen more because you're needing either 4 guys to get through the last couple innings or 3 guys, and 1 or 2 of them are going more than what their standard issue doing these days. So you could certainly make an argument. Now, would that have been, again, I don't think McGreevy should have been in the early on. Like, I think it was smart of them to put him down. To start him down there, to give him that little bit. Like, they waited way too long to do it, especially when you look at the way that Fedde was struggling and Michaelis was struggling, and these moves that they didn't make really kind of handcuffed him. But I mean, you could easily see a path to, if Mike McGreevy has, at this point he has 18 starts in the bigs instead of 9. It's a totally different story.
As Bernie writes in the article, in his Redbird review from Thursday, Cardinals 6-3 in 9 starts this season, 9-3 in 12 starts overall. The last 2 years, Fedde 5-15 in 20 starts this year, 8-22 in his 30 starts from the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And You were the one touting it that the Cardinals were only 4 games back in the wild card.
I was just pointing it out, man. I wasn't touting
But
nothing.
again, I mean, just take 3 wins. Let's just take 3 more wins in that.
Right. I mean, in the other way, and like, look, pitcher wins and losses are whatever. They're kind of like Wikipedia. It's a fine place to start, but don't trust it. Right. Look at what's behind it. In Fetty's 24 starts this year, the Cardinals won 7 times.
Mm-hmm.
And as you just said, in McGreevy's 9 starts, they won 6 times.
Yeah.
And, some of that's because maybe all these different factors, but there's still an element.
And take it. I mean, again, this would take quite a bit of research. Take the trickle down effect from that.
Yeah.
How many times was Fetty so ineffective that he's taken out of a game in the 3rd or 4th inning, and then your bullpen gets taxed, and then you feel those effects 1 or 2 games later?
Oh, absolutely.
From that.
And that's the difference between 5 innings and 6 innings.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you're throwing 5 innings and you're winning 2-1, then you're throwing Romero, Leahy, and Helsley, and probably somebody else.
You have Matt. Don't forget Matt's. I mean, think of how many, think of how many games that like Matt's had to piggyback.
You're showing all these ones.
Yes.
Yeah. And then if you're not, so then at least one of those guys isn't available the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, no, absolutely. There's a huge trickle down effect.
Yeah.
And that's why guys that can go 6 and 7 innings consistently are so valuable. And that's why I'm almost more concerned about that than like an ERA number, but it's that ability to not put your team in a deficit, whether it's on the scoreboard in that game or in an innings deficit over the next couple of days.
Yeah. It's just, again, it just adds to the frustration that has been this season, a runway season that they almost, screwed around and worked their way into a wild card spot while still, figuring out what the future of the club looks like. Cardinals again, game tonight, no game Saturday, game on Sunday. So for those
early game Sunday.
Yeah. So what time is that?
11:10.
11:10 Central
AM. That is I'm not sure what that's Central.
Yeah. So it's a weird schedule in Tampa this weekend for Cardinals and Rays. So
I think that's local time. Yeah. It's 12:10 there.
So be prepared for that and all of the shows here on STL Sports Central. Until next Friday for you, Ryan Fagan. You'll see my face around, I'm sure, a time or two. That's going to do it for Card Central 365 today. Thanks for watching, everybody, and make sure to check out all of the content we have on STL Sports Central, whether it's Bernie, Domesticated Gamblers, or tonight's post-game show coming your way when Cardinals and Rays wraps up. Have a great Friday.